That's ugly. I don't like that, especially with this. We'll see what happens here, but yeah, we're just getting very choppy now. As I said, holding that same volume balance. So I'm looking at this because this is what's been holding us. So that's now the flip point bullish. We can get above that. We should be allowed to run. If we can't, we're just going to be range bound. Or if anything, we're going to make an attempt for this low again. Yeah, that was a huge rejection. And now with NQ like that. Okay. So we'll watch, see if a low gets put in there. Or if we just keep playing around this level. If we're going to run bullish, we'd want to see this hold. We want to see the low of this hold, and then we want to reclaim pretty much this 1 minute fair value gap. I still want to put all these volume balances up because then we start getting a little. So obviously we have the fair value gap. We're just going to move that. We're going to use this because that's kind of what the inter would be based off of. This would be the low we want to protect, and this is the barrier to get above. It's all right. It's all right. It's not your fault. It really is my fault. I should just be better. Just shifting the blame. That's the one. That's why I liked YouTube. That's the only reason. Is that they would just automatically record and save at the end, so you didn't really have to worry about it. No, you good. You good. I also forgot. It's only 10, 15 G's. Yeah, who's out there recording? I just started it now, so it'll be a little bit later, but miss some gems. That's all right. We miss some gems. Good thing it repeats every single day. Over and over and over and over. So right, the expectation, we already expect this to be high resistance liquidity run. We've delivered into a buy side swing point. We've already moved a significant amount higher. So if we're going to try to chase longs, chase is not the correct word, engage in longs, we would expect those to be high resistance. Facts. God damn it, Mike. What are you doing? NQ still struggling in that same fair value gap. So at this point, turns into the spectator sport. You just watch. I would expect if we're going to run up that low, it'll be like a quick wick. Because right now it seems to be seeking liquidity pretty aggressively. So like if we're going to be taken out, I would expect a large down close candle that moves pretty quickly into that zone. NQ is closed below that fair value up again, so that's pretty bearish. We'll see if it can reclaim it over here on the right. Especially if we're going to do this. So we close, let's see, we hold its midpoint, we get the first closure below, we then run bullish to try to close outside, leaving a bullish volume imbalance. We negate that, and now we've closed back below. So this is kind of where we talk about the PD rays themselves within this 1 minute. Can't really pay too much attention to them. You have to rely on the higher time frame key areas. Because you could start getting thrown off a lot in here. So for us, we're really, as we said, we're relying on the low, of course. Entry was on the original wick here, but it's really the buy side pull too. Right, so all of this is keying off of the buy side pull, which is why I'm fine entering where we did. It's also where that half standard deviation point was, as we mentioned. So that's going to be another key level, which is also why the consolidation takes place around that. Let's see what we get here. So 2 or 5 looking like. A lot of wicks. That's gross. That's a 5 minute fair value gap. So 5-minute inversion bearish, 5-minute bullish. Right, another reason we're kind of getting compressed here. Okay, I like that. Little shorts. Short-term shorts. Right, yeah, you could use that. It's also a volume bounce up there too. So you have the inversion here. Right, we had that volume bounce. That's on a lower time frame, so as you can overlap them, enter in the 2-minute volume imbalance within the 5-minute inversion. Those are like the best ways to get those entries. And then targeting, right, I like this low or here if you're in the short. We're getting very compressed. So as we said, I would expect soon either ripping higher or ripping into the low. Compression like this, consolidation will often lead to expansion, even in the short term. For me, as we said, this is kind of my level I'm looking at. Like if we were to close below that again, I would expect that more than likely we're going to try to attempt to get the short-term low here. We'll see if NQ can hold this inversion now. Same idea in ES, right? Is it going to hold pretty much that standard deviation level, the old buy side? This volume imbalance as well, right? So this becomes like an inversion. And if we're going to hold that and run bearish now, we would want to get out at this low. Inversion wick plays nicely. Midpoint would be like last line, right? Get below midpoint, we should just run right into that low. So we watch midpoint now of the wick. NQ clears this low. So it'd be funny if we end up a super reversal maybe potentially, because this low is this low. So that'll be a little SMT there, but with how we're moving, I'd actually want to see if that low can't get tapped. If we reclaim pretty much this volume imbalance though, then it may make another attempt higher, holding midpoint right there. All right, so even shorts, once again, very high resistance either way. Like when you're in the short holding here, right, a lot of give and take. Okay, so I would still think short. We did get back above this fair value gap, but the volume imbalance. But if we look at the actual fair value gap itself right here, we're holding that. So now once again, you would want to see that pretty much hold price and make another pass at this low. Which is, at that point, if we clear this low, we're going to clear this low. If we somehow can hold this, though, close above it, then we may get that release higher. With this being the SMT, right? NQ clears it. But I'd almost want to see, yeah, because the 5-minute too. I'd also expect this 5-minute volume imbalance now to hold price bearish. But if we're going to want to see the continued bearishness, no real inefficiencies in the price itself, just because it's a lot of give and take. So using the old inefficiency, we would expect to see that volume imbalance hold. As the 5-minute closes below it, it becomes a new area of resistance. That should hold and then potentially run out this low. Choppy, choppy. I'm getting too much going on here. Let's just clean it all up. Clear up. Cool, bearish. So yeah, we should run lower. Now NQ wants to be weaker. It was stronger this morning. Now it's weaker. We'll see if that's SMT. I would expect kind of just a slow grind lower. Not necessarily the elevator. This is kind of where, all right, let's say that we're in this for real. right, and you're kind of getting anxious or whatnot, if you can get a retracement into break even, or even like an opposing premium, I would usually cut some of the position, because it's showing pretty much everything that you would not want to see, right? It closed below kind of my area of interest, the flip point here. So as it retraces up into a premium that I would expect to hold price, that's kind of how I go about mitigating risk, to where I would close some there, so you're not taking the full stop if price was to run here. Right? You're able to mitigate risk while still maintaining the stop. And at the same time, if price did end up running where you expect, you're still profiting, and the profit will outweigh that small loss you did for cutting risk. So once again, slow grind here. It's a 5 minute looking like. Still would expect bearishness. It's only 3 handles. Jeez, small range. We're zoomed in, but I mean, in reality, pretty small range that we're within here. Because this is only a 3 handle stop, and we haven't hit that or our 5 handle take profit in like half an hour. Right, so we're not really moving much. As we said, expected though, consolidation after clearing daily or hourly swing points. All bullishness. NQ giving a little bit more of a run lower. ES kind of struggling. Doesn't want to seem to pick up this low quite yet. As NQ continues to fall, we should see ES catch up with that. Equal lows, right? So in my mind, those equal lows get cleared, which would accelerate us into this low. What time is it? 10, about to be 10:30. Okay, so now if this could be the morning range high, then maybe we can get today's first presented. You wouldn't really want to be shorting anywhere within the range like this. Right, as we said, best would have been up here. So using the few entries, right? You could use the 5 minute inversion, right? I like the 2 minute, I like volume balances more. So I would have used like a 2 minute volume balance. But when you're in the middle of the range, it just gets a little bit more fishy. Like you could say that because we closed below this up close candle, that may want to hold price. So like if we're going to deliver bearish in normal delivery, up close candles like this will hold price and send it lower. But because in my mind, we are in a high resistance condition, something like this may not exactly hold as we would expect it to. Which is why I would favor either you try to get in here at the high of the range, or if price already moves, you kind of just have to wait. See if it can clear a low and create another type of setup. Okay, so I mean, still holding. Give a deeper retracement into it, but we'll see if that can still hold price. We'll look at the body itself. If midpoint can hold, my expectation would be next candle runs out these equal lows. If this holds midpoint like this. Oh yeah, oh that's an aggressive, and we actually, yeah, so we should just run for this low right here. I mean, that's perfect. Right at the very last second, we run right into the high of it. Snap back. That was a pretty aggressive wick right there. And even that, textbook high resistance, we can't even actually run out the equal lows. So we just tap that low. We should fall though, right? NQ is bearish at this point. I like this right here. Midpoint perfect there. Through it. Nice. Okay, so yeah, there's the elevator. Right into first present. Oh, yep, right into that first presented there. Nice. Can we get today's? We should probably just get today's. Right, so that'll be the morning range. And then we'd look for the retracement into today's first presented. into the higher time frame. Let's go to a 4 hour real quick. As we said, this is the 4 hour candle. This 4 hour displaces above. This one may want to retest now. Yes, sir. There we go. Beautiful, right? That'd be like my exit point. I'm not sure what you're aiming for, Emily, but at least a partial there. All out beauty. Hell yeah, good trade right there. Da 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 da. Money. And that was pretty much the YouTube model. We kind of speak about that a lot, right? The YouTube model that Michael taught is really a universal model that can be used with any PD array. He taught it with fair value gaps, but the structure of it is all the same. Right, so we create the short-term high. We have a short-term low. We then run out a short-term high while clearing a higher time frame buy-side pull. And as we close below that low, you can really use any discount now in this leg. Right, so the YouTube framework can be used in more than just the classic fair value gap way, if you understand the order flow of it all. And nice, that played out nicely. Really that wick, inversion wick. I kind of want to try to continue to just, holy cow, what the heck? Do y'all have that gap as well? Or is that just on my chart? Huh. Huge gap. Da, 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 da. Oh, okay, that's good then. Silver bullet. Yeah, especially right all one-sided like that. Those are nice deliveries there. If we're one-sided in the morning, higher, 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 boom, clear the liquidity, reverse, invert. I would have liked to short there, but I don't even know if we're going to get it. We're pretty heavy right now. So maybe we do try to come back. As we said, right, midpoint of the opening range, over 50% of the time, we'll try to get targeted. So if we're going to start moving aggressive like this, it may be trying to get there. Let's see if we can invert and close below today's first presented. If we did that, and especially because we had this wick, that's kind of where I would say, right, I wouldn't want to see this wick be broken. I'd almost treat the wick as a gap itself. Holy, it is very heavy right now. It's just going to run for that. It's not even giving an opportunity. We'll try to use volume imbalance entry here then. Did we get midpoint? We're just going to try to get to midpoint, which will be these relative equal lows. We're not even going to get it. It's just going to run. That'll be a true liquidity void there, so we can just use that. Give it a little bit lower barrier for entry. You could use the first presented. Another one. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a full gap closure. Closing that opening range. Or the RTH, we'd call it. We'll see if we can get below previous day's low. I want to get that entry. We may not get it though. May just stay heavy. We're going to try to use today's first presented. I like that. This wick, as we said, I wouldn't want to see higher than this wick. So we can go midpoint of this opening range, or this first presented. Do have to be a little careful, because as we said though, on a 4 hour, this could simply be a retest of this. So like if we're going to displace above and want to use the 4 hour as an inversion, The 4-hour could trade into it and then expand away back outside. So I kind of like this spot here, to be honest. Right, regardless, like if we get thrown out and we end up inverting that, that'll be pretty nice for longs now, in my opinion anyways, for some of these highs we left behind. Because as we said, this was a little bit different to where we did clear this short-term high, but for the most part, it's just lower highs, right? Lower highs. That one barely, but because if it's a wick, I don't really count that, right? Lower high, all the way until we finally got that a quick fallout. So if we're going to maintain bearishness, I would just want to see the most recent premium be used for another fall. Because if we end up getting above that, oh, whoa. If we end up inverting this, which was today's first presented as well, that may create another leg higher. Opening range high we used. I thought about putting an entry there because opening range high may be all that price wants to get back up into and leave this. On the 4-hour, what's that? Oh yeah, let me see. Go like this. Very true. Oh, look at that. Nice. Yeah, so right, that'd be money. But we just may use the opening range gap. I was hoping we actually use today's first percentage or even this most recent bearish, but I think we have a chance still. As we said, this is a true liquidity void. So this candlestick opens and makes no attempt to return to where it closed before. Whereas with the normal volume imbalance, you'll see more so map. Something like this. Right, well, there'll be a wick to close it in. Here, something like that. The wick goes and closes it in. Same here. Kind of like this. So it'll open, it'll give back some of that range and then leave. But we've actually created another one here, so we might just run. Right, that's a sign that price doesn't want to really go bullish. So if we fall out of bed here, we understand why, especially because this one was created after we hit the high of the opening range. So now if we want and another volume imbalance. So my guess is that probably just stays open and we just run straight for the midpoint. We haven't done a volume imbalance entry in a while. I might try that actually. Oh, it's not even going to give it to us. God damn. Look at that hourly candle. I was going to try the volume imbalance entry here. We haven't done that in a while, but when price is trending like this, and this is playing off the idea that we just kind of talked about, usually when the volume imbalance will open, it's going to retrace into the previous candle's range a little bit, and then it'll move away. So like in the trending market that's moving quickly like this, as soon as the candle opens here and goes into this candle's close, you can get short using the previous candle's high as the stop. And then obviously, right, our target would have been that midpoint here, but it didn't actually give the retracement. So as we said, it just leaves it open again, showing that it wants to stay bearish. Right, that's a pretty bearish signature. Now we've hit midpoint. So from here, this is where we could actually reverse. So I'm going to move that. Oh, we didn't get midpoint. We got 830. Okay. So we still could get midpoint. Okay, that was just midpoint of the 4-hour. I see. I still wouldn't mind that. We may try this liquidity void here. Because I do want midpoint. Just to see. Once again, right, close proximity entry. I'm not really too worried about entries today. I'm terrible. Forgot how to trade. Yeah, NQ did clear that low. The singular low. We didn't get the actual. Did we get these lows? No. Previous day's high. See if we can't give another displacement leg. So at this point, yeah, I like midpoint. We're going to try to get, that's right here. And that's these relative equal lows pretty much. And Q cleared that low as well. That gap is crazy. It didn't get these lows though. So right, that would have been entry as we said right here. So using the actual liquidity void. And then you'd want to see pretty much another just aggressive fall to attack a low right away. If we end up inverting all of these, then that may be kind of bullish. And it may want to come back up here. But at this point, we're just playing around with it. This is like the stuff I would do when I was first learning. Just press buttons over and over. Flip it. We get above that. Now you just flip it and go long into that. Yeah, as we said, that 4 hours is just a wick. 1 hour may give us a better indication. Immediate rebalance on a 1 hour. 15-minute holds that as well. We did close above that, so you could almost invert that right away. We'll see if we can reclaim it. You'd want to get below it, but if we like trade down into this and hold, this is where you'd see like an aggressive bullish candle. So you create the displacement candle. So first of all, right, you create the wick. You create this wick that trades into the volume imbalance. Very next candle then displaces right through that. So this is once again another example that we're speaking of where that wick will act as a gap. And now it's paired with the volume imbalance, which is what I would expect. Right, as we said, if it's going to tap that and want to hold that bullish, you would see another quick bullish move to get like above here and probably back into this. You just keep running up. Like I almost want to flip it, but we can't. We'll leave it. Once again, retest. So it holds the first time. If it gives multiple attempts, usually that's a good sign for shorts anyways. Because something like this will run away quickly, right? So if it's going to try to like hold that and then re-give that or get back below it anyways, then we should be able to potentially clear a low as long as we can get outside of this. Yeah, these lows right here, too clean. So are these too, kind of like these. What's a gap low? Full gap closure would be kind of crazy. Should we just hold for gap closure? Buy one at the lows. We're retesting midpoint of the most recent wick on a higher time frame. We're still also retesting previous day's high right here. So I like that we were able to close below that. Right, we closed below previous day's high, but I'd want to see two candles because when the very last time that we did that here, we closed below, we immediately trade back above. So we're able to close below once, twice now actually, and we've left a fair value gap there. So we try to add one more there? Sure. We'll see if that holds bearish. We just added one there inside of that. because then from there we'd want to see a quick move lower. That's 830, so 830 line in the sand. Look at the bodies. But if we can get below that, as we said, I like these relative equal lows. I want to see at least midpoint at this point. So this will be a first presented here. So we'll close one at there. We can close the one we just added right there as well. We need to get below 830 though, so that's pretty much my new area of interest, because that's also the 4-hour midpoint. I kind of like these lows a little bit better. Let's go like this. Look at that though. See, so I don't like that. Not at all. This time the body can't even get near it. First time body was able to get on that level. This time body hovers, so body doesn't even want to close near 830. So if we see another bullish move, we may actually hold this low. So I'd want to see price pretty much close right below 830. As soon as it does, right, so whatever candle was able to close below that, I'd want to see the very next candle make an attempt for this low. If anything, just run right for it. NQ trying to get there as well. Ooh, it's playing. Yeah, I see. We don't like that. We don't want that. That's twice now. Swing low. So we'll see if this becomes a failure swing here. We would not want that to be a failure swing, because that would be bad for shorts. What I would want to see pretty much is previous day's high act as resistance. We do have this fair value gap, so we could trade into that, but I wouldn't want to see a body. If a body gets back above previous day's high after creating this failure swing here, then we may have to come back up again, because NQ is sitting inside of its opening range high. As you said, that's fine. We could wick into it. Just need the bodies to hold previous day's high. Closure above that, I'm not liking it much. Did we? We did. Okay, so we create the failure swing. We're not able to clear the low. We hold 830. That seems more bullish. 830 doesn't want to give way. 4-hour consequent encroachment on a higher time frame is also still holding. So right now, higher time frames, more bullish. Yeah. So we'd expect this high to be ran and probably come for our stop. Or as we said, we need to have stop right above that down close here. When we trade into these higher time frame midpoints, right, so the 4-hour midpoint like this, if price is going to break lower, we want to see multiple attempts to close below and move away from that, especially because this one's paired with 830. So the fact that not only the higher time frame midpoint is holding, but then the 830 key level is holding to me is why I necessarily don't like the setup here. We need to see pretty much a quick fall through, right? So something like this, or like this. That one single candle that passes right through both lows at the same time, ideally passing through this low as well. Bullish fair value gap. So for us to feel comfortable, we need to invert that. If we hold that, once again, just showing things that we would not want to see in price delivery. What we would want to see is for this to be inverted, so that turns it into a premium that may then be able to hold us. No guarantee, right? Because as we say, when it consolidates like this, you can't put too much emphasis into the 1-minute candlestick structure, but it just gives us a little bit added confirmation in our setups. Okay, so like that. I really would want to see the next candle just go for it. Because like, right, look where we test. Oh, there we go, perfect. Yeah. Are we going to get that? It's not going to hit it. It's not going to give it to us. disrespect. What's that level there? So we had the lows. I wanted to see the actual midpoint though, because there's an untapped fair value gap in the OB right here. So we'll just hold for that. We'll try to commit to that it'll get into this little area. One here, one off at the low of the first presented. That's crazy. If it holds that range, that's not a good sign. Right, we don't want to see it hold. You should take a partial there, where we had the original partial. If I'm being completely honest, because we are on paper, right, I'm not, as I said, not really as precise or worried too much about the precision aspect. More so just reading order flow, gauging where it's moving. That's not good though. You don't ever want to see something like that where we wick and can't leave the original range. Closure below creates the confirmation. So we have a liquidity void here. Right, we might as well just try to use that, right? So let's say if we trade up into it in the 4-hour midpoint, we'll add another one. Just to see if we're respecting these areas. Right there. But usually this is a sign that we're going to reverse. So we create a swing low, we clear and close below that swing low, which sets into motion another run on the most recent swing low here. But now, when we run this low, we wick it and hold the range. So what you can usually see is now the most recent premium. This is where we shorted. If that gets inverted, it's going to take us higher. We added another one here. So now at this point, because we added, we want to see price leave this range, close below, take us out. Beautiful. So there's midpoint. I kind of want to take 2 off there. We're just going to take 2 off there. Too late. Uh-oh, it's not going to give it S2 again. Let's see if it gives it to us. Oh, what you got over here, Mike? Let's see. Yes, sir. That's what they call demo balling. Said bread. Okay, so here, right, that stays. Next, we have these lows. I'll just aim for the low of the 4-hour, these lows right here. We'll take one more off at these lows, if we can get to these lows, which we already did, so I guess I'll just go back to the low like we had it. Just manually buy as we smash into it. Oh, doesn't want to give it. Two-minute volume imbalance and retested. Yeah, it's smart. Was that NQ? I didn't even see. Is that NQ or ES? ES, nice. Up here, if you're saying up here, yeah, that would have been money. That's perfect. So like once again, right, if we just look at this price, so really, high to low here, this is balanced. We create this wick that leaves the sell side. We create the swing low. Very next candle displaces through that wick, leaving a fair value gap, right? That's where you can then short. Like if we're going to expect continued bearishness, we wouldn't need to return up here at all, actually. This is balanced. So price should just start melting from here, really. Oh, we get one more partial, nice. So we'll see if we can get the last exit. We're just aiming for the low of the 4-hour right here like this. We may want to come all the way for the opening range, though. We'll see if we can add another one here. Hold up. Just keep following it at this point. Hey, thanks, Mike. Hype me up. Stuff is just beautiful. Every day repeats. Kyle, you be cracking me up, bro. This one here, yes, I would have. So the two I would have taken live, right? First of all, here, that's the one that we kind of called out early on, is that we want to see lower prices. So as we trade into buy side and with the extreme of the range, those are going to be the best setups. Right, so for me, the inversion wick would have been the best. Or as I was saying, right, there's a lot of opportunities here. You could have waited for the 2 minute, right? Emily did the 5 minute. So a lot of opportunity as long as you have the bias correct. This one here, I also would have, because now it's shown that, right, once we got underneath this fair value gap, my original entry would have tried to use that. We notice that price cannot leave the opening range and instead creates, as we said, right, 1, 2, 3 straight volume imbalances while trading through the low. So when I would see something like that, my expectation would be midpoint is the new objective. We have no intention to really reach outside of the opening range again. So I would feel comfortable shorting that volume imbalance, which is a true liquidity void. Stop above, as we said, the up close candle here. So I guess like to answer your question, what validates a trade? For me, I don't like to be in the middle of a range. I like to see key areas get disrespected first, right? So like for us, this was our line in the sand that we said, if price was to displace below this, then we're going to start looking for shorts. So as soon as it does, I'm already validated to start entering short, right? I would trust that fully. This is just simply added confirmation that we want to maintain that bearishness, right? As we said, when we create the low, we make another attempt and we can't even actually get into that. We leave that as a breakaway and then break structure again. That's just added confirmation that we can go ahead and go short now. Right, look to the left. The fair value gap that holds price and sends it higher. We're also closing below that. All right, so a lot of confluence here in this setup. To where even though it was a little bit higher resistance, we understand that, right? So we wouldn't get shaken out. That's why the stop would just need a little bit more room to breathe. Oh shoot, I was supposed to short right there. I lost track. I was going to try to short that though, right? See if that continues to hold us. As we said, the wick with the fair value gap leaving the range, that is the new area that would hold price. That will just go like this, honestly, as we said. I'm not really too worried about the precision. Just kind of want to gauge the flow, order flow. So if we can tap that volume imbalance, we'll try to get short there. Because now as I look at this, right, and I'm thinking, well, in reality, all of this is balanced. So from this low, unless we do want to like attack restart. Unless we want to trade into an open inefficiency like this, but for us to do that, we would need to switch really kind of the order flow and start delivering bullish. So if the expectation is that we actually just want to stay bearish, this whole range is pretty much balanced, so we wouldn't need to return into it. Right from the low, we then trade lower, we then reprice into all of the volume imbalances here. We then leave it, that becomes balanced. But then here, we still even gave one more run up, right? So that paintbrush analogy, up, down, up, down, up. Even on that final pass through down, we can't leave the range. One more pass up, and then finally, right, we're able to actually displace outside the range, creating a new premium. That's why I'm saying in my mind, this newest premium should really hold price and send it into the objective down here. We did get entered on that volume bounce, so now we have another entry actually. So we could probably hold for, let's go like opening range low if we want to stay crazy bullish. We're still going to close the main one here where we wanted to. But since we were able to pick up another entry, we'll just hold it. Once again, right, so I'm always looking at lows. When we clear lows, I'm always looking if we close below, if we wick below. just like subconsciously, because that gives me added confirmation. So like when I see something like this, and I'm bull or I'm bearish, I don't really like seeing things like that. I want to see these lows being closed below. That gives us confirmation. So we could wick them eventually, but we always want to see candle bodies close below lows. You don't ever want to see them wick lows. Yeah, let's see what the actual entries have come on today. So we had the, right, you would use the volume imbalance. Fair value gap was a good one. Same with that. So pretty much all of them besides this one and this one. Like you would have entered here. Right, using the wick with the fair value gap. Closure below is good, so now we should hit the low of the 4 hour. Which is, where'd it go? Which is here. Easy exit would be just, oh, there it is. Easy exit would be targeting the lows, but if we're bearish, we would expect the 4 to be traded into. Okay, so from here, now we may try to reverse. We only have one left. I don't want to see previous day's high, so if we're going to stay bearish, previous day's high should be left alone for the time being. And we'll see if we can't get the opening range gap low. Look for a full closure of it. Four hour though, that'd be the spot that we're going to reverse from. And Q stayed bearish as well, so we could just keep falling. Same idea now, right? So because I'm already saying that everything in this leg, high to low, has already been balanced, I just want to see the continued bearishness, right? So like this up close candle, I'd want this to hold price now. So whichever, trying to find the best way to explain it. I guess we say whatever premium last held and sent us lower, I'm always looking for that premium to be the new one that holds price, right? If that makes sense. So what I mean by that is that this is the candle that traded into this premium that we thought would hold price, and it does. So since that does hold and create a new leg, now I'm expecting that premium that traded into this one, that becomes the new key premium that should hold price. Right, and that's how I kind of follow price when it's creating legs like this, like true bearish or bullish legs, where it's just efficiently delivering. It's like right now, let's say that we did end up inverting, right? So like if we were to displace above this, I would almost try to take that long, if I'm being honest. Back up into like this volume imbalance that's open. All trades and funded. Yes, I like that. Good shit, Emily. Yeah, it's pretty clean price action, actually. Right, longs, clear reversal short. Few entries as well if you missed that like we did even. Good stuff. Who are you with, Emily? Okay. You like them? I've seen them around. I heard they're pretty good. Might have to try them out too. Because they're the ones that do daily pay, or no, that's take profit trader. Tradeify, what's Tradeify? Tradeify has like the straight to sim funded, right? And they're those people. No payout yet. Hey, that's fine. Working towards it. Yeah, for me, this is line in the sand. If we get above that, we'll probably try to flip and catch like one more long back up into here. Swing low. Okay. I like that. It's nice. That's how I took advantage of Apex. I would buy like 10 accounts and I would just hedge them against each other. 5 long, 5 short on a news candle. Insta pass. Milk them for money. Close the accounts. Start over. All right, bet. We're going to flip this right here. I actually want to buy 2 there. So if we tap that, we're going to flip right now. Once again, right, not too worried about the precision today. But the idea would be this holds us bearish, sends us lower. We're going to get above it after trading into the low of a higher time frame inefficiency. That new area becomes a bullish area. Inefficiency low should hold, and we should see it try to make an attempt like at the high of the inefficiency, really. So we can go like that. You passed out on the NFP. Let's go. Take advantage, eh? I'll have to take a look into that. Yeah, now once I get settled, we'll start grinding again. As I said, our house is all I have set up right now is the desk. Had our priorities straight. No couch, no bed, no furniture, no TV. You should, Emily. Do it. Load up. $11.04, so already past our trade window. But we'll see if this one plays out. Consequent encroachment. So I'm looking at the 4 hour here. If we can get above that from this entry, we should be free to start running. And really, we'll target the liquidity board right here. A little 1-to-1 type. Something easy. So I have my stop kind of wide right here. This is like the safe spot under the 4 hour. If we're following order flow specifically, you could put it below here. This would be the bullish breaker. That should hold price. We can keep it here for now, just to let it rock. But if you want to cut risk, or if you want a kind of better RR, right, using the breaker low for the stop loss will give you that. Because you'll also notice from this low to high, like within these bullish legs, there's only one inefficiency, and it's a volume imbalance, not a true fair value gap here. Right, we immediately rebalance here into the volume imbalance, we then displace above. So there's really no need to return like lower. Like in my mind, if we came all the way back below this level, we're probably just going to continue and create another bearish leg and just trying to continue, right? Maybe at that point, we'll come back for the gap here. Because we've hit 830. So 830, as we said, the 830 in the 4 hour, that was the line in the sand going down, right? We couldn't get below it, couldn't get below it. We finally did. That's why we go short, and that works. Conversely now, we're trying to get above it, but it's the same idea. Now it's holding us bearish. So we'll see what happens. First presented here. Anything lower than that, more than likely, will get stopped out. And then we'll probably just call it a day from there. Got enough practice reps in. Ooh, that's gross. Let's see what happens there. At this point, we would pretty much need to completely close in this volume imbalance and reclaim this. If not, this becomes resistance and we go lower. Tradify allows copy trades. Nice, nice. Yeah, and Q is right near that low. I like those lows and then Q. I wouldn't feel comfortable long in that either. Because ES already cleared all the lows. So NQ is kind of lacking in that sense. Bearish fair value gap. So for us to feel comfortable, you want to see something like this be inverted. If not, it holds bearish. Sends us lower. Look for stop. Did NQ clear that low? Let's see. If NQ can somehow clear a low, that'd be nice. Potential SMT there. Like if we clear this low, we'll ES inverted. That's our only hope, really. ES needs to invert this bearish fair value gap. If not, the area where they overlap is my guess. That's where they'll probably hold. So this, right, one area where it's darker, like this. This little area in price right here. If we can get above that, I like that. And we should be able to potentially run. If NQ could have cleared this low, that would have been even better. Wait, did it clear that low? I think it did clear that low. Okay, it did clear that low, barely, but I mean, that's enough for me. So let's see if we can't start running. As we said, breaker low is what we would expect to hold. So something like this. Breaker doesn't get invalidated quite yet, which is nice. So if we trade above this high, we can actually move our stop to the breaker low. That's where it should have been already, as we said. If you want a tighter stop, you can have it there off rip. But we just had it at the safest possible area, the most recent swing point, underneath the 4-hour inefficiency. And then if we can create new structure, close above relative equal highs, close above the liquidity void where we got short, close above 830, that's been holding. I mean, look at that. Wick into it, open with the bullish volume balance. It says nah, goes lower. Opens, tries to get up into it again, immediately rejects. This candle then tries, can't even get into it from there, falls lower. So that 830 does not want to be messed with. Once again, though, kind of like we saw up here, where we've delivered into a higher time frame swing point consolidation after a bullish leg. Well, now, bearish leg, higher time frame, right low of the 4-hour. We could see consolidation there. 11 o'clock as well, so time. But yeah, this will be our last little entry. So whether we get stopped or we get taken out, we'll call it there. See what NQ tries to do. Right, in NQ, it has that first presented here. And that's also the 830 and its midpoint. So that should be a pretty strong area. But that's why we're seeing consolidation around that as well. A lot of key areas, key levels overlapping one another. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-da-da. The overlapping key level status. Did we? Oh, we didn't get stopped. We're definitely getting stopped there. Did we close? We didn't. Okay, so that's last line of defense. Price is very precise though, so you could see, like this could hold. I wouldn't expect that. I think we'll probably come for it, but we've seen plenty of times where we even get one tick from stop and price will reverse. Because it does respect these pretty specific levels. So if it doesn't want to leave the 4 hour again after it already has, this low will hold. And that's kind of where the stop is. But with that most recent bearish fair value gap, I'd almost expect it to try to run that out one more time. Right, clear the low, maybe leave the 4 hour. ES is consolidating pretty ugly. But if we can, then maybe we can get the gap closure. Potentially even midnight. Let's look at the daily candlestick. Yeah, especially if the daily... Oh, geez, that's hideous. Hold up. Hide all. Yeah, it could probably just rest right inside that little daily fair value gap right here. I don't realize that. Let's see. What's the high of that? First of all, look at the precision here, though. Look at the way we just held the bodies right at that half standard deviation. That's kind of why I like these levels when we start getting in uncharted territory. But anyways, wait, where did the... Here's that daily fair value gap. So if we can get outside of this 4 hour, like we just did here, especially if we close below it, because the first time, as we say, we're not really leaving it. It's more so a wick. Even this, like this could just be a run on this low. That could be like a stop hunt to trade into this and then reverse. But if we can get like displacement outside of this, close below, we may want to venture back into this daily fair value gap. Ba-da-da-da. Should we try it? I might just try it. One more. 11:17. What time do we have to be gone? 9. Like if we leave a fair value gap, we'll try to short that. Two-minute, 5-minute. Yeah, none of these other candlesticks. This could just be a wick. I'd like to wait for at least a 2-minute. See if a 2-minute closes below it. Immediately rebalance, so no fair value gap, ES or NQ. I don't know why I'm getting these gaps like that in NQ. It's weird. That might be an order block right there, actually. We finally cleared the low, so we did get that low there. See if it expands right back up. So many executions. That's funny. I love it. Press the button. So like right there, you could probably short that, but what do we say? 2-minute? No, because that's just a wick. I don't trust that. Higher time frame, need to close out outside of it. That one's okay. We'll try this closure below this here. I really like it. What was that? Was that a 5-minute we're using? Yeah. So we have to use the corresponding time frame. 5-minute closes below this, we'll use that as an inversion, especially if it closes outside of the 4 hour as well. That's not accurate. Oh my gosh, Mike, you're out here baiting me, bro. You're throwing us off. How dare you? Sabotage. Not gonna lie, I was kind of looking, I was like, I don't know. Didn't want to say nothing, but I could not find it. I'm like, what OB? Bullish? Ah, okay. That's alright. the old bait and switch. And Q is looking a little bit better for the longs, actually. I'm going to try NQ. This will be our last one. Because NQ clears those lows. Gets right back above it first presented. I like NQ better. Switch it up. And then we'll throw ES over here on the side. New Bay, who dis? Right, because that's the 1 hour. So it's already wicked. So now if we can, one more wick. And then create the bullish 1 hour candlestick close of the high. This might be a little OB2 here, actually. Maybe we try both. Double trade. Should probably just go low barrier to entry. So like we should just use the fair value gap. What we can do is I do this sometimes, right? We'll build in like 1 right there just to get involved. It's not gonna let me do that. What? What was that? Huh. Okay, well, you get the idea. I guess I'll just leave this here then. We'll just go close proximity entry. But in a case like this, like if I'm trying to build a position, and there's 2 areas that I want to use, I'll go in with low risk on the very, we'll say easy entry, right? So that'd be like this volume balance. And then I would leave 2 other contracts. So if it gave the deeper retracement. That way, say it does run from the most recent discount here, then you're still able to be involved. Which I don't know why I entered us there. Oh well. I guess we'll just take this one. See if we can get a high. Stop loss is below this candle. So we were able to close above the high, so that's kind of the true break in structure. Right here was like the most recent high that clears the low, so as we close above that, that's confirmation. But now as we close above the relative equal highs as well, that's even better. So we may just keep running, not give a retracement, but either way, if we did retrace, I would still look for the long higher. Okay, okay. Oh, you're taking the. Okay, you had me. Hold up. I see what you're looking at now. I'm not gonna lie, bro. So I thought you were just looking at one candle. Oh, I see what you're looking at. Okay. You're looking at the entire range from this candle up to the high. Because yeah, that would be on the higher time frame, the entire thing. Pair that right, just like that. So yeah, that makes sense to get up that. Not really, Benji. FOMC itself, like the actual rate announcement, is more so aggressive. The minutes can cause like some funkiness, but usually those are already priced in. Because it's just kind of like a recap of what they already talked about at FOMC. Sometimes it may act as a catalyst to send price somewhere, but for the most part, it's not necessarily like an aggressive news drop. Yeah, so we're just running here. Okay, it's going to be bullish the whole way. We'll see if we can get out here at this high. That's calm. Yeah, I was like, I don't think minutes wouldn't be the best one to do that. The best one to do it on is CPI, because usually CPI is one-sided. So it's like, if you're hedging one long, one short, one of them's going to hit. Whereas like sometimes like NFP, FOMC, it's happened to me before anyways, to where because it is like choppy both ways, it'll take out both accounts. Like it'll stop my long position and my short position before either of them even gets reached. But as we said, that's just playing with the funded accounts, taking advantage. So it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, you could try jobless claims. That's usually a good one too. Right at 8:30. Especially if you full port. Right, of course, we would never trade like this, guys. We understand. But to get the accounts, if they allow it, take advantage. Then once you get it, then you lock back in and be smart. At this point, we'll just follow this. This to me probably becomes a breakaway. Once we close above these highs, this may become a breakaway gap, especially now that we've closed above the opening range. So we'll just hold it like this. All right, if we'll treat that as a breakaway, and we'll aim for a short-term swing point right there. I like the opening range gap right here, so like I might just add one. Or not. I might just add one. There we go. And we'll see if we can't get first presented. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. Retest entry. Where's NQ? NQ or ES was able to get above 830. And we left a volume bounce. And the breaker there, actually. If we're going to run bullish, I kind of want to see 830 hold. Let's see what this does here. I might actually try this. Yeah. Okay. I'm actually in that trade. I'm going to take that for real. Here on ES. I'm just going to really aim for 5 handles, which will get us into the short-term high. I'd like to see a bullish run. We need to get above. So in here in ES, I might as well just show you guys this. We'll just hold on. Let me change it real quick to end it. How do I change the stream? No. Share. Just something light. Just gonna aim for 5 handles up here. Stop loss is below the body of the breaker, below the volume bounce, fair value gap, breaker high. So if we want to come all the way into the first presented again, we'll be out. I just want to see pretty much that low be held, right? So we enter on the swing low. We say best entries for us are swing low entries. So if that can hold, we need to get above previous day's high, though. That's the only issue. So I'm watching that at this point. All right, so we enter on the swing low, volume balance. We're using 830. I'd like to see us try to get above previous day's high. Pretty much try to retrace some of this range heading into lunch, and then maybe if we can get to like this area, because I really want to see this be filled in. We're at the unopened inefficiency up here, aligned with midpoint, aligned with today's first presented. So what we would want to see is for this low to really be protected for price to, if price can close above previous day's high, I think we'll be okay. All right, so this becomes our exit. Just trying to get this little short-term buy side target right here. Right at 5 handles. This, as we said, for here, this entry, 4-hour consequent encroachment, 1 minute liquidity void, stacked with another 1 minute liquidity void, right? Same one. This candle doesn't make any attempt to return into this wick. Stacked with bullish breaker, low high, lower low broken, bullish breaker, stacked with, bring on this 830 level as well. So that's kind of why I'm okay trying to long here. A lot of discounts. I understand that we are having this premium, right? So daily, old daily high. But I would like to see that get violated and make one more pass at these highs up here. Because my mind is, if we're already going to retrace this far into this range, this balance range, it's probably going to want to reach the high of that. $15-minute, was it immediate rebalance? Oh yeah, in here. Right here as well. So yeah, I'd like to see it just move. Right, 15-minute fair value gap up here, where we're going to exit as well. So that hasn't been traded into at all. So that's going to be, I like that. Good target. We just need to get above previous day's high. That's kind of like, I think, the line in the sand. If we can close above that, we should be able to release. But we're holding that aggressively. We don't want to, right? Because it's also paired with the bearish fair value gap that's right here. So now this is the premium that we're getting held at, right? We have all these discounts. I'd want to see these outweigh this premium, but if we're offsides, it'll fall through holding that. This will become a rejection block, right? So price won't make an attempt to get above that. So let's move this, because the rejection block is really the issue right here. A lot of wicks. Getting pretty wicky here. We did create a bearish volume balance. We'll see what that ends up doing. Not really a fan of that. Ideally, we would get above that. Try to close above it. If not, we may actually end up using that to run lower. Hey, knock off. Hey, quick move. Elevator. Ooh, big drop. 4-hour low. Eh, no. Okay, we'll call it there. Right, small stop. First trade back, over. All good, all good. So yeah, overall, pretty clean delivery. Right, higher. Nice shorts from the high of the range back lower. And then to actually get into the 4-hour. Wanted to see one more run on these highs, but we're just going to kind of stay range bound inside of the 4-hour, more than likely. So yeah, we'll leave you guys with that. What did MQ? Oh wait, no other trades. That's the... I was like, where's the other account that we were messing with? So just had a lot more executions than normal. But first day back after a little vacation, that's just kind of what I do. That's my protocol. Get used to it. That's crazy. So I might have just wanted to revisit first presented, wick us out, and then give that run. You back? Hi. All right, well, that's my sign. Yeah, no problem. No, it is going to run now. But we're fine if it does. That is all for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Let me check real quick. See what we got on the news. We got... Okay. Jobless at 7:30. So that's 9:30? Wait, what? No, 6:30. Okay. So yeah, we have jobless tomorrow. That'll be early in the morning. So we'll just come back at the normal time, 9:20, 9:25 Eastern, and we'll see what we get tomorrow. Until then, have a good day, everybody. Take care. And yeah, we'll talk tomorrow morning. I'm gonna send that record message at the... Yes, do that. Cool. But all right, fellas, we'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.